Thank you, Greg. Really, it's an honor and a joy to be here. And I remember when this, came through for Greg, and he didn't say anything to anybody, but I recall going to his house, and he said, "I'm going to show you something. Just tell me what you think about it." And so he was talking about awakening, but not anything that he was associated with. And he said, What do you think? What do you feel from this?" And I got so excited, and he says, "This just all came through, and this is something that I'm creating and manifesting." So it's really quite amazing. So thank you. So it's been a while since I've, kind of been in front of an audience. I teach a lot, but it's a little bit different. So in the past, I would usually always have, organized notes, and, my mind would be really into it. And I said, "No, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to prepare a thing. I'm just going to authentically talk and speak from my heart." And so Greg had said to me, "Well, what are you going to talk about?" And I thought, okay, well, the first thing that came to me was, well, experiences that I've had with the angelic realm. And so I thought, well, that's perfect, because I know when somebody speaks about their experiences, and who they are, that to me is like really exciting. And so that always sparks an inspiration. So I teach integrated energy therapy, which works with the angelic realm. And so that was really my first exposure of experiencing angelic presence, so I thought. So when I got into this modality that I loved and connecting with the angels, it brought me back to when I was a young child and how I didn't really know that I was connecting with the angelic realm, but there was an immense presence that was around me, always. And so the first story that I'd like to share with you was, I would say, that what really started me on my path. And I recall being around 6, 7 years old, looking up at the sky saying, "What is this place? Where am I? What is my purpose?" And so I didn't feel like I belonged or connected. And so at 7 years old, I overheard my mother having a conversation on the phone. And the conversation was about what was going on in her life. And the one thing that she said in the conversation that just opened everything up for me, she says, "I have to go find myself. And once I find myself, I know I'll be okay." And so at 7 years old, not understanding what that meant, but feeling the truth of it, a light bulb went off. And I thought, I have purpose. This is great. Okay. I know why I'm here, to find myself. So you could just imagine, here I'm 7 years old, the next day I go to school, and I'm in the lunchroom, in the cafeteria. And so we're talking 6, 7, 8-year-olds. So, and I was always very, very shy, but this brought me out. So I would go to each of the lunch tables, and there were probably like 10 in the cafeteria, and I would yell out, "I'm going to go find myself! You want to come along?" And, I didn't get a response or reaction from anybody. I was really surprised. They're just looking at me like, "What are you talking about?" I mean, these are young kids. So I had one friend of mine who was a neighbor of mine that said, "Okay, I'll go find myself." I said, "Great, I'll pick you up after school." So after school, now I lived maybe about half a mile from school, and back then in the 70s, you could walk to and from school. It was safe. So I recall going home and actually telling my mother, "I'm going to go out today, Mom, and I'm going to find myself." And so I'm so grateful for my mother, because she knew that, I have 2 other siblings, but she knew when I was born, like, okay, something's way different with this one. I'm just going to let her be who she is. So she said to me, "That's great. Okay, have a great time." I said, "Thanks. Can I have some cookies on the way?" So I'll never forget, she gave me a big bag of cookies, and I said, "Okay, I'm going." And so this gentleman, his name was Richard, and he actually lived directly across the street from me. So I went over and I said, "Come on, Richard, let's go." And so there we were. We were off. And he says, "Where are we going to go?" And I said, "I don't know, but it's okay, because we're going to find ourselves." So I was like the ultimate observer. And so I was learning a lot. I wasn't the one that was the outgoing one, but I was in the background observing and watching and learning and feeling, because my primary is my heart. I really come from my feelings and my heart first, and then my mind. And so the angels, the angelic realm have guided me, and so beautifully they've guided me at 7 years old that I thought, okay, I'm just going to trust. And so I recall I was very much protected, and it's funny because just this morning I was thinking about, okay, so what experiences have I had that have been pretty profound for me? And so there was one that really showed up for me that I'd forgotten. And so this is where, like, the protection comes from. I was about 15 years old, and my friend at the time knew someone that just got a motorcycle. He was a young kid. I never rode on the motorcycle before. She never rode on the motorcycle. But he had said that he would give us a motorcycle ride. So he came over and we argued. We argued for about 10 minutes. Who was going to go first? Because we were so excited. And something inside said, let it go. Just let it go. So I said, you go. So, unfortunately, what happened, they got into a severe motorcycle accident. And she had broken her jaw and was in therapy for many, many, many months. So I was like, wow, okay. I was very much protected from that. Another story that actually I haven't really shared with many people is that this was around the time I was 16 years old, and I was hanging out with a crowd that wasn't the healthiest of crowds. And, you know, at that time, I just wanted to experience as much as I could and be with maybe, you know, the people that were an energetic match for me at the time, but just wanted to have an experience. And so there I was invited to a party, and I heard of this particular house that, you know, people said that it has a reputation, that there's some really bad people that go to this house. And so inside of me, that kind of made me a little excited. I'm going to be around bad people. Whatever that means. I didn't know what that meant. But drugs, alcohol, you know, things like that, you know, I wasn't into. So there I was at this party, and this guy who I really liked, one that invited me, wasn't there at the party. But he gave me a call, and he said, I'll be there soon. So I waited a couple hours. He didn't show up. Until about maybe 5 hours later, and I still, you know, and as the night is progressing, it's getting more and more crowded at this house. And so it's a small house, so there's a lot of people outside of the house as well. So something made me go outside and sit at the step, and all of a sudden, I see that he's, you know, the house was in the middle of the block. So I saw him at one end of the beginning of the block. And so he waved his hand to me. So I just said, okay. So I went to him, and then we kind of went around to the other block that nobody could see us. And he said to me, I don't want you to ask me any questions. I want you to just run that way, go get yourself home, go to the bus. I know the bus is usually that way for me, but you're going to have to go the long way. And don't turn around. You hear anything, just go. And so I did just that. I just saw fear and felt fear all over him. So I decided, okay, I'm going. And so what I had found out the next day, what was supposed to happen but didn't, that there was a gentleman that was supposed to, was looking for another person that he wanted to actually kill. And so he was going to, you know, with a shotgun, go into the house and try and find him and shoot him, and anybody else in the way, they would get shot. And so this guy that I had liked at the time knew about this. So I thought that was like, wow, you know, that brought back memories of how so protected I am. So, again, throughout my entire life, when I would think about, okay, so what is my next, like, step? And I would always kind of ask within, like, what is it that, you know, so as I went through 3 years of college and wasn't very exciting to me, what is it that my heart wanted to do? And what I heard was, you're to be a teacher of the heart. It's like, What does that mean? A teacher in the heart. Well, just trust and know you'll be guided. And I said, well, then show me the teacher. And so years later, I was shown a teacher. And through that, I've been continuously shown. A wonderful, about talking about experiences and really connecting with the angelic realm. I've had, a experience of really seeing live angels that I believe came through physical bodies like ourselves. And I was with a friend of mine, and we were on our way to Woodstock, New York, to take the IAT Master Instructor training with Stephen Thayer back in 2000. And so we decided to stop off at an ashram on the way. And so when we were done, we left there and we got lost. We got really lost. And so we're out in the middle of nowhere where there's just one house there. Miles later, there's another house. And so we decided, something said you need to turn around. You need to turn around, because we just kept going and it just kept getting darker. And so we turned the car around, not knowing, because the streets were really dark, that there was a ditch. And we went right back, deep down into the ditch. So we're looking at each other and we're saying, okay, we're on our way to Master Instructor. Okay, this is all about working with the angels. So we just put it out there. Angels, help us. 30 seconds later. Now, again, there's just nothing. You can see nothing from miles. All of a sudden, we see this bright light coming from one side down the street, coming up closer. And then we see another light, all of a sudden out of nowhere, coming. And all of a sudden, it was 2 big trucks with about 5 men getting out of the trucks and not saying anything to us, and they just started to bring out the line and hook up the car. And my friends looked at me going, oh my God, they're angels out there. And I said, yeah. She's like, should we get out of the car? Do we stay in the car? What do we do? Can we talk to them? What do we do? I said, you can do anything you want. I said, I'm just going to sit here. She's like, I'm going to go say hi. I said, okay, go say hi. So she gets out of the car. She says, hi. Says, don't worry, man, we got it all taken care of. And we were out of that ditch in 5 minutes. And then they got in the truck and they left. And, you can see the truck lights. Usually they faded pretty quickly, out of nowhere. So I thought, wow, that was really awesome. It's like if you can ever have a story of really experienced, and I'd love for anybody to share if they've actually had, an experience like that where it's like you knew, okay, these are angels right here. They're taking care of this. What do I do? Has anybody experienced anything like that?
I had, this was years ago, I moved from Addington, I moved up to Doylestown, and I was on the hill near Edison and Furlong, and all of a sudden, I'm at a light, and fortunately it was red. All of a sudden it turned green, there was this huge truck behind me. My car started going backwards. I had no clue what to do, and I just yelled, help. And all of a sudden I pulled up the emergency brake, and it actually worked. And the truck just ran right around me. I went into the gas station, and it was this guy behind the thing. And he was, I can't help you. And all of a sudden this guy from the back door pops out and says, I can help you. So he came out and helped me move my car to the side, and then all of a sudden there was a police car there, and he took me home, and yada yada yada, and eventually I found out that what I had was a broken axle. It was actually a couple of days of things just happening. Like the person who I worked for was able to get me my car to the shop, and then the shop was able to take it right away, and then she helped me pay for it because I didn't have money to pay for it. It was just a series. I just felt so. I was just floating. I wasn't scared. I was just floating around for the next couple of days. Oh my God! Thank God.
They went off.
Oh, it's just a screensaver.
Yeah, I was 5 or 6, and we were in a big VW van, and we got jackknifed by a tractor trailer, and I just remember this white clothed arm came out and like held me back in the seat. I didn't see any face. There was a hand with like a white robe on the arm and just like held me in the seat.
Nice. Anybody else?
I had a really cool experience when I was like 19 or 20, and I was staying at a friend's on South Street, and then I was walking from South Street to South Philly, and back in the day, I was fearless, like I didn't really care. So I was walking, it was about 1 in the morning, I was going from South Street to South Philly, and I passed by the projects, like on Washington, and as I'm walking, I turn around, I hear like footsteps, and I see a guy like come out, and he's following me, and then two other guys came, and they started following me, and I'm just like walking, and I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And then this like calm feeling just came over me, and this car, big black car came and stopped, and the door like flew open. Like I didn't see the guy open the door, but it was a small Asian man. He was like tiny. He was like behind the wheel, and I said, "Oh my God, thank you." To these guys, and like he never turned to me. He just went like that. He's like, "I get it," like 8th and Dale, and he took me to 8th and Dale. He never said a word. It was like,
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Some really awesome experiences? Let me know when it's 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Is it 5 minutes?
Yeah.
It is? Wow. Okay.
Well, you can go a little longer if you want.
Feathers. I've always wanted to receive feathers. And so just about 2 weeks ago, I was like, I never got a feather. I want a feather. So here I'm outside with my cat, and he's sitting on the bench, and I'm kind of like kneeled down at his level, and all of a sudden, like probably about 3 feet above, I just felt this like poof, and all of a sudden this little feather right in between us. So then the next day, I received another feather as well, and this was as soon as I opened up my door to my house, it was sitting there right on the ground. But you have to understand that when you open up my door, it's sort of like a wind tunnel. So it's like if there's any leaves or anything, that's just going to come. And it was sort of like a mile to, a little bit of a windy day. That feather didn't move. So that was sort of, because sometimes I need just a little extra validation, like, okay, is that a real feather? Angel feather? Okay. Then I got the other one. That's always fun.
I had a feather story. I was looking for a feather too, and I didn't find one. I mean, I looked, and I thought I looked pretty carefully. So I went into the car, and there was a feather on the seat, and I said, "Oh, this is great." And I realized I had a down jacket, so the feather came out, but it was still a feather, and it is a feather. Okay, so it can come from any place. So
That's great.
But it does come from someplace. I mean, it is there from there.
Yeah.
There.
Thank you. I was given a really funny picture. One of the things that I've really come to understand and realize is that, we, on some level, kind of put the angels like, the angels, they're just really such amazing beings. Well, do you know they're doing the same exact thing for us? They would not exist without us. And so I was given a very humorous picture today. And one of my guardian angels is Angel Ariel. And she says, oh, okay, so if you are honoring us this day, we are also honoring you. And so can you imagine, they showed me this really funny picture. And it's very similar like this, all of our guardian angels, and that are all gathered around. And most of them get up to share, and I can just see Angel Ariel coming up to share, saying, hi, I'm Angel Ariel, and I'd like to share with you a being named Wendi Rose, who has heard who has followed my guidance. And I want to share with you some of the things that I've helped Wendi with that she really heard and she followed. So, I really believe that, we are just as important as they are to us. And so they would not exist without us. So always, 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 always ask. And sometimes in the asking, you don't have to be so nice. For a while I was like, okay, I got to be really nice. And so when things weren't really manifesting as quickly as I wanted them to, knowing that it was for my highest good, I would get demanding. And I would just say, you make it happen. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And so one of many manifestations, but do I have 1 more minute to show? Okay. So I was in between moving, and I've always wanted, really just comfortable, expensive bed. This was back when I was in my 20s, and I've always had futons. And so I decided, you know what, I'm going to manifest the bed of my dreams. And so with the intention of walking into, one of the bed stores, I was going to pick the bed, and then I was going to be able to, I was giving myself 24 hours to be able to pay for it in cash and free delivery. So I walked into this place within 5 minutes. I found the bed, and so there was a sale. It was originally $1,600, but it was on sale for $13. Okay. Did I have all that at once? No, I didn't. But I said, I'll be back tomorrow this time with it. Cash. I said, okay. So I got in my car, and I said, you got 24 hours! That was it. And there was no doubt. None whatsoever. There was only a big yes in my energy field. Because whatever it is you put out there comes back. And so wouldn't you know it, I had a full running holistic center at the time. I had picked up the mail, and there were 2 very large checks. And then also I had somebody that called and said, I want to buy one of your largest packages. And then another client that came. I walked into that bed store the next day and handed them the cash. And I said, this is free delivery, correct? Okay. So, there you go. I mean, just have fun. The angels just are really here to play with us. And one of my biggest mantras, and that's what's really showing up in my life, is that I'm here to be abundantly paid to play. It's like what I truly love to do, I'm provided for in every way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was Wendi Rose. Just a side note, I'm not real big when it comes to introductions at lots of labels and all that kind of stuff. I mean, all the speakers that we always have at the events are just always amazing people, and I just know that, and so that's my introduction. That's why this is who they are, because it's about who they are, and it's funny, but it's true. For me, that's important because who they are is what you see when they get up here and talk to you. It doesn't matter what they've done in the past or what letters they have after their names and initials and all that kind of stuff. Like, to me, that's not important. It's who they are, and you get to see that and experience that when they're up here talking. So, and all the speakers for these events like today, they always volunteer their time. They're giving this to you. I put these on as a gift to everybody, just to bring this energy out there and this information, and because I just love doing it. And I'm always very grateful for that, and grateful for everyone that shows up. And same thing, all of you. You don't need any initials after your names. You're all awesome people and beautiful beings for being here and for everything that you do and all the things you probably don't even realize you do. And again, so as much as we're here to connect with our ethereal friends that are in other realms, we are all still angels for each other, and that's also a very important message to remember today and moving forward.